You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
I'm back. Rodrance for Black and White Sports. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit subscribe. And as always, thank you guys and gals for watching. So let's talk about DeShaun Watson, because there could be a lot coming out of this 24th lawsuit. Okay, this may be a big deal. Okay, in the fact that it's possible, and Mike Florio is now speculating, could it be possible the 24th lawsuit would be what would allow the Cleveland Browns to get out of this guaranteed contract that they have given DeShaun Watson? Because it is very safe to assume that when they gave him this guarantee, they did it under the assumption of 22 civil lawsuits, not 24. And the most surprising part about all this is Rusty Hardin, DeShaun Watson's legal team, none of them knew this 24th lawsuit was coming. So this is very interesting. I guess there wasn't a real heads up. But Hardin saying that the legal team hadn't even had a chance to look at it is pretty surprising. Could 24th lawsuit against DeShaun Watson eventually allow Browns to void his guarantees? Florio, perhaps the most significant development from Monday in the DeShaun Watson situation was no development at all. Specifically, the lack of response from Watson's team to the 24th lawsuit could end up creating significant consequences for Watson with the league and or the team. Yeah, I mean, look, the NFL was basically done with their investigation, and this 24th lawsuit hit everybody out of nowhere, including the NFL, including the Cleveland Browns. Evidently, Attorney Rusty Hardin issued a statement on Monday indicating that he's unable to respond to the 24th lawsuit because, quote, our legal team has not had time to investigate this new filing, had not heard her name until today. Wow, that's a bombshell. There's an important distinction between not hearing her name and not being aware of her potential claims. The early stages of civil litigation against Watson featured a delicate and convoluted guessing game as to who the plaintiffs were, because they initially sued under the Jane Doe pseudonym. The effort to identify potential plaintiffs potentially included a person whose name Watson didn't know or remember, who eventually would make the claims reduced to writing in the lawsuit filed Monday. God damn. This guy doesn't even remember all the names, potentially. By the way, once again, we're talking between the massage therapist that Rusty Hardin presented and the ones that are actually in the lawsuits. We're talking like 42 people now. Think about that a minute. If there's not something wrong there, I mean, I don't know what your gauge would be to identify that something is very disturbing in this situation. Hardin's statement says only that we hadn't heard person's name until Monday. It's possible they knew via aggressive questioning of their own client that there was a 24th interaction that could have resulted in a claim being made. I got to be real with you. It wouldn't shock me if 10 more people came out at this point. It really wouldn't. I mean, this is crazy. This is absolutely ludicrous. We're talking about what is supposed to be a franchise NFL quarterback representing as the face of an NFL franchise right now. I mean, my God. I want you to think about this. Think about what they did, how the media crucified Ben Roethlisberger. Now multiply it by 24. Think about that a minute. That's important for multiple reasons. First, if the person whose name previously wasn't known to Watson's legal team now files a criminal complaint, the allegations could be submitted to another grand jury. Wow. And the graphic details contained in the 24th complaint if repeated to a grand jury and accepted by a grand jury, could result in indictment. Although I've tried to avoid repeating the graphic details, the 24th plaintiff contends that after trying to get the plaintiff to touch his business and asking her, "Where do you want me to put it?" Wow, that's crazy. All right. Second, if Watson eventually is suspended for the conduct alleged in the 24th lawsuit, the Browns possibly will be able to void his guarantees and move on from him, possibly to recover a significant portion of the signing bonus. Let me read that again. Second, if Watson eventually is suspended for conduct alleged in the 24th lawsuit, the Browns possibly will be able to void his guarantees and move on from him and possibly recover a significant portion of his signing bonus. Wow. Man, if you are the Cleveland Browns and you've got any chance of getting out of this train wreck, especially before you trade Baker Mayfield, you better do it. As explained in early April, after we obtained a full copy of Watson's contract, the contract exempts from standard default guaranteed void language a suspension imposed by the league, quote, solely in connection with the matters disclosed to the club in writing pursuant to paragraph 42, and such suspensions results in the player's unavailability to the club solely for games during 2022 or 2023 league years. In the paragraph 42 of the contract, Watson, quote, represents and warrants, except as disclosed to the club in writing, as the date hereof, that a player has not been charged with, indicted for, convicted, or pled nolo condente to any felony or misdemeanor involving fraud or moral turpitude. Player has not engaged in conduct that would subject him to a charge, indictment, or conviction for any other offense. No circumstance exists that would prevent a player continuing availability to the club for the duration of his contract. The written disclosure was not attached to the contract. A source with knowledge of the document told us in April that it's, quote, a fair assumption that it refers to the 22 pending civil lawsuits. By the way, there's 23 and 24 now. The question now becomes whether it was written broadly enough to encompass individuals who had not previously come forward either with a lawsuit, criminal complaint, or some other public statement. The plaintiff who sued last week, for example, was known to Watson's camp because she did a podcast interview last August. But based on Hardin's statement, they didn't know the name of the person who filed the 24th lawsuit until Monday. Beyond the question of whether the 24th plaintiff claims could potentially fall beyond the language of the exception of the default language in the contract, is basic reality that Watson ultimately could be suspended at some point after 2022 or 2023. Without any clear indication as to when the NFL will act against Watson, with literally 24 lawsuits that will work its way through the legal system, with August 1st through March 1st being out of bounds for any trials, if the league defers all punishment until cases are over, not likely, or imposes a preliminary suspension now and leaves the door open for another suspension based on outcomes of the cases, a reasonable middle ground, Watson could face a suspension in 2024 or beyond. There's a possibility that still can't be ignored of the NFL changing its position on paid leave. Although the commissioner, Roger Goodell, removed the paid leave from the table in late March, recent developments could put it back in play. When we asked the league that very specific question on Monday, a question the commissioner freely answered in March, the league now had no comment. Wow. So we'll see how it plays out. For the first time since the fury of lawsuits was filed in 2021. However, a case will play out involving a person whose name wasn't previously known to Watson's camp. that could, not will, but could potentially create major problems for Watson in multiple ways. Holy shit, guys. Holy shit. So, here's the thing. Came out of nowhere. Number 24 came out of nowhere. 23, they suspected. 24, his lawyers didn't know. Evidently, Watson forgot about her. Holy crap. And the language of the contract was set up with their not knowing that there would be a 24th lawsuit potentially coming. And here is the interesting part that I kept saying this to people. We've got another person that potentially, and trust me, the graphic shit that's in this one, this one could, in theory, lead to an indictment. And look, I don't know what y'all are looking for in order to indict somebody if something like this doesn't do it. Wow. The Browns may have found a potential out of this contract. Future guarantees, signing bonuses, they could try to come back and recover if they did not know about this 24th case when he signed the contract. The language could be there that would let them out of this. The question is, and I'm going to present this to the Cleveland Browns because I know somebody from that damn organization watches my videos. Do you have the balls to cut this son of a bitch? Do you have the balls, Jimmy Haslam, to cut DeShaun Watson with now a 24th and vulgar ass incident now on file, allegedly? Do you have the balls to do something about this? And do you have the balls to do it before you lose your other franchise quarterback you had, Baker Mayfield? If you are a Browns fan today, I'm sorry. This is so embarrassing to an NFL franchise, to the Cleveland Browns. You brought on a total creep show and got rid, or you're getting rid of a potential franchise quarterback, the guy that took you to the playoffs, pulled you out of many, many years of no playoff runs. You're letting him go for this fucking freak show. Wow. Tell me what you think, Black and White Network and Black and White Sports supporters. This is crazy. I mean, the Browns may have found a little olive branch, a little something to grab onto to get out of this. Question is, do they have the balls to maybe try to pursue that angle? This looks terrible. And the league, I think he's going to miss a season. I really do. Peace. I'm out. Till next time. Black and White Network supporters, make sure you check out the Black and White Network merchandise store. Link in the description. Use promo code USA First, all one word. USA First, all one word. 25% off now.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.